get around the curve, cross over the river, another curve.
All right, now you can hang those elbows out if you want.
Look at the surface.
And plus, is it kind of typically the inside of the curve that would be the lee side? Whereas lee just means where the current is not.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Now we've got a new word.
Go make sure I'm right. Lee side of my
Over there? Yeah, got it. I think you got it. He's coming to get you.
Binoculars, you'll see an alligator way up there. Really? Yep. If we're going that way, we may pass right by.
Well, welcome aboard, everybody. My name is Lee. I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours. This boat is inspected and certified by the United States Coast Guard, so I am required to give you a little safety briefing as we get underway here. Life jackets are under your seats, except for our 4 guests right here in the middle of the boat in the first class section. You guys don't get a life jacket.
Yay!
That's all right, just make friends with somebody back here in economy class.
Yes, please.
We got plenty of them.
I'll grab one.
There is a life-saving ring, a throw ring, mounted right here over my left shoulder. That is there in case one of you falls off the boat. Please don't do that. There is a ton of paperwork I'm sure they're going to make me fill out. I would rather not do that. I would toss that ring out to you, though, if you do find yourself in the water. Grab a hold of it. Please don't lose it. It's very expensive.
water.
I'm on my 3rd one already this year, so hang on to it, please. Also, is there anyone on board that knows how to work a fire extinguisher? This gentleman right here in the black shirt and black hat raised his hand right away. Sir, would you like to know where your fire extinguisher is? Right there, that's the big one. All right? Don't worry about the other 2.
Got it.
And it's about 20 miles behind us. So you had about a 150-mile trip in a straight line as the crow flies, but you could not go in a straight line. The St. Johns River meandered all over the place, back and forth and around. So that trip from Jacksonville down to Sanford on a steamboat back in the day would only take you about 6.5 weeks. That's a long time on a boat. The people that ran the steamboat companies realized that, look, we could probably make a whole lot more money if we could shorten these trips somehow, make it faster. Well, they couldn't make the boats go any faster back then. They really didn't have the technology for it. So they got a hold of the Army Corps of Engineers up in Washington, D.C. And they said, gentlemen, look, we've got this river down here in Florida that is really aggravating us.
They let you go through there with the
And the Army said, well, what is wrong with your river? They said, well, it's got too many twisted turns in it, meanders, it's too curvy. It takes us too long to make our trips. And the Army came right back and said, well, you have a curvy river down there in Florida? We cannot have that. How about we come down there and straighten that thing out for you? And that is exactly what they did. Over the course of about 10 years, the Army Corps of Engineers took 26 miles of twisted turns out of the original course of the St. John, straight long sections of it, like this piece we're in right now. And they actually cut that 6.5 week trip right down to 14 days. And then everybody was happy. Now this sandy area over here on the right is known as Frenchman's Landing. Used to be a stopping point for the steamships back in the day. But as soon as the Thurgals built their house right there at Blue Springs, that 3-story house you saw when you came into the lower parking lot,
Yeah.
all the steamship stops moved right up there. They had a much better docking facility. So they would stop up there and take on fuel, offload and reload passengers and cargo. But Frenchman's Landing is still part of the state park. It just doesn't cost you anything to get there. If you drove right past the gate where you turned in this morning,
Oh, yeah, I love
Is that a manatee oil?
I don't think so, son. Probably a fish. We'll keep an eye on it though. The swirls will be continuous in a straight line. But they are out here today. I've seen a couple of swirls in the water this morning. Are gators still there?
Yes.
Yeah, he's just swimming around.
So soft, Nanny.
Water
Purple galvanoles. The males, I can't see them from here. The male will have a bright reddish orange beak,
Yeah, that's that one
and
on the
the
right.
females will have a brownish beak.
I thought those were two different types of birds, smell and hissing.
And they are kind of hard to see because they get down in this floating vegetation. Walk around.
That's spoken up.
Do I have any burgers on the boat? Bird authorities? We've got over 500 species of birds in the state of Florida. I am pretty sure I can identify 6 of them. After that, we're on our own. Who started with the rest of them?
Oh, he is so
They
good
always
with that
tell the
little round
lifters,
head.
well, 2 ways. You see them, you hear them. It is not the most melodious bird call you've ever heard. It sounds like somebody screaming at the top of their lungs.
Oh, it's those that make that noise. Oh my
Now,
God.
any of you old enough to remember the old black and white Tarzan TV show and movies that they filmed up in Silver Springs? In the opening credits of the TV show, you hear all this screaming, howling going on in the background. For the producers wanted you to think that that was Cheetah, the chimpanzee making that noise because Boy and Jane were in trouble in the treehouse or what have you. Well, old Cheetah would not make noise when they needed him to, so they imported a bunch of these limpets, got them all excited and making noise, and that's the sound you hear in the opening credits of the TV show and the movies.
They eat those little snails, don't they?
They got a dark color. Can anyone guess why the river's so dark when you've got all of that beautiful clear water coming out here every day?
Vegetation.
Tannin, exactly right. Tannin, more specifically tannic acid, is what turns it dark. If you've ever made a cup of hot tea and you're dipping your tea bag in that hot water and it starts to turn kind of brownish, same process is happening out here in the St. Johns River. And the tannin, or tannic acid, comes from the roots on the shoreline and all the rotting vegetation on the bottom of the river. Now, back in the day, when we had sailing vessels or sailing ships going up and down both coasts of Florida, this is before the steamship era, and they started to run low on fresh water in their water barrels on board. The sailors started looking for what they called a black river, like the St. Johns, because of the dark color. Believe it or not, this river water is what they wanted to put back in their water barrels. They had access to that beautiful crystal clear spring water. They didn't want that. They wanted this water. And the reason being, they didn't know this at the time, but the tannic acid in the river water is drinkable, it's fresh water. The tannic acid slowed down the growth of algae and bacteria in the water barrels. If you took that crystal clear water, fill up a water barrel, put a lid on it, algae and bacteria start to grow almost immediately. So the river water stayed fresher longer than the spring water did.
That's interesting, huh?
Now you can drink the spring water out of Blue Springs. So if you swim it and you get some in your mouth, don't worry about it. But you cannot drink it over a couple of weeks period. You will actually get dehydrated because it does have a high sodium content to it. It's not completely salt water. It has just enough sodium in it that you will get dehydrated if that is your only source of hydration.
You wouldn't get dehydrated if you drank this tannic water?
Nope, doesn't have enough sodium in it. So you can drink this stuff.
Oh, I drink wine, it has tannins in it.
There you go.
That's why.
You and my wife would be best friends. Yeah, just 2 hours worth of useless information, y'all. Get your notebooks out. Now, look over here on the right. Can anyone tell me what looks different on this shoreline versus the shorelines we've been passing earlier on?
No lily pads.
Pardon?
No, not as many lily pads. Lily pads. I don't see the lily pads.
Correct, yeah, there's less floating vegetation. And there's a reason for that. Over here on the left is the spring. Over here on the right is the riverbank, and there's no food source over here on the left. The reason being, in the beginning of manatee season, when the manatees are over here in the spring staying warm, because all the water in spring in Florida, the water's 72 to 73 degrees year-round. The rivers, on the other hand, will get down into the low 60s, sometimes even the high 50s. That's too cold for manatees. They don't like that. There's no food for manatees in the spring.
You're right, I'm wrong.
Safest way out of that one. You don't see any turtles out here either. Usually, at worst, we'll see a couple of turtles, a little blue heron. Those are ibis, I-B-I-S. The white ones are the adults. If they're kind of gray and white, they're immature, and if they're totally gray, they're little babies, little infants. And the ibis is actually known by the old Florida natives as the hurricane bird. And they call it the hurricane bird because the ibis typically are the last bird for medicinal purposes. This is where it originated. They make a paste out of it, and they treat muscle aches and pains, arthritis, things like that. But the legend that goes along with it, this is how it got the name Love Vibe. You see that boat right there now?
Yeah.
That is a snow speed zone.
Yep.
That boat is in.